promised, Catherine, that we'd have you back on.
Yep.
Okay.
It's
This
been
is Kathleen Harmon of Amador Community Foundation of
Right.
Amador County. I
Right.
wanted to get that straight.
been about
And-
9 months.
Right. So you've
since I
been
was
there for
here.
about 9 months?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
time flies, right?
Yeah.
We must have it in order and just singing along
Yep.
by now, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I wish. Well, we're not a household name, and so it takes a while to reinvent and refocus and allow people to understand who we are, what we do, and why we matter. So
Okay.
I'm glad to be back on.
Okay. Well, I think a lot of people, know what it is that you do. You know, that basically you give funds to outfits or help them. You're like an over umbrella that nonprofits can use to do the paperwork. To me, kind of the paperwork and have the legitimate funding or whatever it is that the government needs. Right.
Right.
So if you're a 501(c), but you're not a really big one, it's got to be hard. Is that what happens? Or
Well,
why don't you
actually,
tell us?
one of the programs that we do manage is the fiscal sponsorship program, and to start a nonprofit takes about $2,000 in 2 years, and most ideas die before they
That's for sure.
have any opportunity to explore whether they can be viable. And what we do is we allow them to use our 501(c)(3) status. We're a public benefit corporation, so they can come underneath us, use our bookkeeping services and our accounting practices. We file their 990s, all their tax stuff, and then they can try their idea out in the public to find out whether or not it's a viable idea. STARS is a real good example of a program that started underneath us. We were doing Camp Out for Cancer. We were raising lots of money for cancer research, and all that money was leaving Amador County. And a group of people said, hey, why don't we do our own thing and see whether we can raise that money for Amador County. And so they started underneath us and became so incredibly successful that they incorporated and became their own 501(c)(3) and own nonprofits, and they broke away from us. There are many groups that are under us.
That's kind of a big outfit,
Yes,
But
they're
maybe
huge.
Maybe if you're just a Boy Scout troop.
Vintage baseball.
Okay.
Vintage baseball is underneath us. They'll never go away because it's too expensive to incorporate, and they have these great guys. Mike Daly is on the team, and Dan Duran, and they have these great names, Digger and all kinds of stuff. But they play with the 1930s uniforms and equipment, and they're great to watch. But it's too expensive to incorporate, so we allow them to be who they are, and we handle their finances for them.
Okay.
So it's
And give us a name of a few more.
Well, let's see. We have the Amador Student Music Fund is underneath us, and money is raised for kids that would like to take lessons to become better in an instrument. We have the autism group. We have a Parkinson's group. We have Ione Projects group. Right now we just opened Ione Depot restoration project, where they're trying to raise funds to restore part of the Ione Depot, and they can't give a donor a tax-deductible donation letter without our 501(c)(3) status, and a lot of them are short terms. We have most of the elementary school parent organizations underneath us, and they raise money to benefit their campuses.
So something like for the Ione Train Depot, that's just basically ad hoc. That's just to do that one time, and so it's very handy to come to you. How do people know to come to you, or how do they find out about that?
Well, that's our goal, is to raise awareness, and our webpage right now is in the process of being redeveloped because it's not saying what it needs to say.
Okay.
And but being on your program and allowing me to get that information out to let people know that we do exist and we have that project underneath us.
Okay. Now, before you took on all of this work, I think it's an umbrella. What was the foundation at that time?
Well,
Has it always had an umbrella, but but it wasn't used at all or something.
Well,
like that.
we're a grant making organization.
Okay,
So
right.
on top of the fiscal sponsorship
Okay.
program, since we started in year 2000, we have granted $1.5 million back into Amador County. That's
All
a
right.
lot of change.
All right, we're going to find out how all that works when we come back, but we still have about 45 seconds. So if I remember correctly, is a lot of people that want to give to that foundation might earmark what it was that they want it for. Maybe they'd say, I love animals, so I'd like this to go for
Correct.
Animals to be able to use it, maybe up at the animal shelter,
Right.
or use it here or use it there, right?
Absolutely.
So we had a lot of that going on, and it sounds like the foundation decided to take more on when they decided to be an umbrella group. And you gave that word pretty good. What was it, a benefit group?
We're a public benefit corporation.
Okay, a public benefit corporation.
Right.
All right, we're going to find out about Amador Community Foundation, a lot more when we return from the other side of the break. Stay with us here on TSPN.
You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN.
Well, hi, everyone, and welcome back. We're going to ask Kathleen Harmon, how does all of the, let me put it like this, the foundation gets money from people that want to, benefit the public or benefit basically specifically the public and things here in Amador County.
Right.
And so they can make donations, and I think from what I understand, they can make donations. I'm not sure if it's like in land, in money, and different things,
In
different
anything.
areas, assets. In other words, like.
Right.
And then the assets come to your group, and what does your group do with them, and how does it grow them, and how does it? Let's start there.
Okay, well, community foundations have been around since just after the turn of the century, and when we established a foundation in 1999, there was a woman that wanted to see a community foundation in Amador County because they have benefits that wouldn't generally happen otherwise, and what that means is you and me decide that we're going to write a check to the food bank, and it's a subject that's near and dear to my heart, but it gets a lot of focus, and so people know the food bank exists. But somebody wants to make sure that pit bulls don't get put down, and so they would like to see that happen, but they don't know how to make that happen. And what the foundation can do is accept a donation with a donor, making a gift of, $50, $100, $100,000. I mean, it doesn't matter what the gift is, and then we can direct it because we do the research to find out how to make their concept a reality. We grant back, we gift to existing agencies that are open. ACRA is one of them. The Rancheria, all of the stuff at Diedert Park that's being done, the Rancheria doesn't have the capacity to run those funds through. They run them all through the foundation, and so all donations come to the foundation, so donors can receive a tax-deductible receipt, and so we are a conduit. And I can't talk without my hands, and I probably should sit still doing that.
No, that's okay.
But we are a conduit a lot of times for donors making a decision that they want to get behind a project. ACRA, the Rancheria, we have a hospital fund where the employees at the hospital have decided to start gifting for individuals that don't have the money to pay their bills, and the hospital can't grant directly to it.
Are we like a small, like Ford Foundation or a foundation that maybe Bill
Right.
Gates gives to?
Absolutely.
And you give the foundation money. They basically invest the assets or
Right.
put them someplace, and the money that grows from there. That's what it is that you use, or I would take it in the case maybe of a Rancheria or in other areas where there's specific money that they say we actually want this spent. Does that just
Right,
is that specific money moved then in that direction?
Absolutely,
or?
that's actually called a donor advised fund, where
Okay.
that it's got a specific earmark, and then there's field
Okay.
of interest funds. The other thing we do is scholarships.
Right. Right. I want to say sometimes during the year, and I'm not sure when, and I'm not sure if you'll be having one, but you have workshops. I've been to a couple of workshops where all this stuff is explained, and explained, very well, or it's able for people to wrap their head around how it works,
Right.
and why it's such a great way and a place to give because of all of the benefits that a foundation has,
Right.
as opposed to just one citizen or a group, as you've mentioned, that maybe is too small to handle all the paperwork and wrap their head
Right.
around all of the I guess all of the paperwork and
It's very it's very tedious. It's also very costly for most nonprofits to do their own version. As they become more viable and raise enough money, it is viable. But we're the perfect vehicle for that to get started. You know, something to possibly consider as to why people get engaged is when you look at deductions and taxes. And I was just at a seminar, and the presenter said, well, what would you like to give to charity so you don't give it to the government? And the reality is people get to that point where they just don't know where they want to give their donation, and so they don't, and they end up paying taxes. And so it's just a good way to look at it, is the foundation can accept the gift as a means of not paying the government but making a tax-deductible donation someplace, and then say later, okay, now I would like it to go to this fund, or I'm interested in supporting the Amador Historical Society, or I want it to go to an elementary school so they can do a better job of their playground. It can be determined at a later time. But when it comes to December 31 and you know you need to make a donation and you're not sure which charity is doing the best job of spending their money, we do all that research. So we can make your donation the most successful donation out there because we research all of the entities that are in Amador County, and all money is spent here. It does not leave this county.
Okay, that's a way that a person would go directly maybe to you.
Right.
How is it that that the different organizations come to you?
Word of mouth.
What message do you have for them?
Yeah, word of mouth. If you have a concept or an idea, and you know that you need to do it as a nonprofit organization and you have no idea how to get started, come and talk to us. You know, I've got 20 years of nonprofit management experience, and I can advise some of the framework that needs to happen, and we can do a startup entity with the fiscal sponsorship program and see whether or not the idea has enough substance to be successful. If it doesn't, no harm, no foul. You know, but we do lots and lots and lots of entities that just figure out that it's not viable and they can't make it work, they can't raise the money, and they haven't spent a lot of money trying to get a nonprofit status when it's not gonna work.
How about if a group doesn't have a nonprofit, that's not it, but they have a good idea? Do you give them maybe one-time grants?
Yes,
for things that
absolutely.
They've got one idea they want to get done, and that's it.
Absolutely.
And how does that work? Or can you give us an example?
Well, we just sponsored the Amador Farm Day. Scott Oneto needed some funding to promote the Amador Farm Day, and so we did a small grant. We've done grants to the Kennedy Mine Foundation when they do their education days. We have...
Can I ask a question? Where some of that money's maybe by some donors say, if it comes to agriculture, that's where I'd like to get it. So there's... I don't know if there's pots of money around or how that works, or is that...
We have individuals with funds, but we also have, as a foundation, we have funds. And so we have a grant committee that reviews all the applications, and they determine whether it's viable, do research, and determine what and how much they can grant. But then we have individuals that, for instance, Boy Scouts of America, there's a couple of funds that we have that all of the money that sits in the foundation is specifically to assist with Boy Scouts. And so we funded Eagle Scout projects, we send kids to the Jubilee, and it's because individuals whose lives were changed by the Boy Scouts set up a fund that's all they want to do with that money. And
okay, now, if people are interested, and Al and I might run over a little bit here, if people are interested, how do they get a hold of the foundation? They give you a call and then they come on in and you have a one-on-one, or do you?
Right.
Is that how it mostly works?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. My time is available to talk with anyone that's interested in determining whether or not they want to invest with us, whether they want to receive a grant from us, whether or not they have a nonprofit that they want to start up. That's what I'm here for, is to make Amador County a better place to live.
Okay. And can you give a phone number?
223-2148.
Okay. And I guess I'll just thank you for coming by.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Okay, Kathleen. And stay with us. There's more on the other side of the break.
You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN.